Let's make a Thanksgiving feast from no other than the Queen herself.
Julia Child!
6 dishes, just one day. Let the stress begin.
Ah! Bon appetit.
So hello everyone, welcome back to my home. I was just thinking, you know, I could use some company for what I'm about to do today, which is, well, this is the Way to Cook cookbook from JC, and scattered in this book on these pages are a whole bunch of recipes that would be perfect for the holiday season. Someone really just needs to go into this book, find those recipes, bring them all together, and then we'll cook. I'm your guy, I'm gonna do it. On our menu today is traditional roast turkey with stuffing, of course, cranberry relish, garlic mashed potatoes, glazed carrots, and for dessert, fluffy pumpkin pie. Not only that, but I was thinking, you know what, it'd probably be fair to put myself into the shoes of someone that would actually have to prepare a meal like this for a large group, family, what have you. So I'm gonna tack on those real life stresses as well. I'm gonna make this all in one day. I'm gonna take a collective breath. Let's get to work. There has to be a strategy involved when making a feast like this all by yourself in one day. There's gotta be an order to the madness. This turkey right here is a 12.5 pounder. And I had it thawing out in the fridge overnight because when I picked it up, it was rock solid. And what I'm gonna do first is open it. You think I'd open it right here, right? What do you think, I'm some sort of numbskull? Whoa! I should have done this over the sink. Oh, this is a terrible start to the video. Just terrible. What the fuck? Learned a valuable lesson that day. Turkey, come over here. This has all the giblets and neck and everything, which it seems to, in the cavity. That means I'm gonna make a stock. I had a backup plan if it didn't. That's not enough to make a stock. No turkey stock today, I got another thing in mind. You know what we're gonna do? Start off with this pastry dough. I think that is the best course of action right now. And that is for the fluffy pumpkin pie. I've made that before, last year. It was an adventure. The Whiz Kid, everybody. My little tip for making pastry dough is always double the recipe because things go wrong, often, all the time. And if you have leftovers, you just toss it in the freezer and forget about it until leftovers in the freezer right now. I probably could use them, but I'm not. I'm gonna make it from scratch. 3 cups of all-purpose flour, cup of cake flour, 2 teaspoons of salt. Give that a bit of a whiz. Kid, 3 sticks, 12 ounces of chilled unsalted butter that I cubed up into moderately small pieces. Pulse just a few times. Half a cup, 4 ounces of vegetable shortening. 2 to 3 times I pulse it. Pulse it. 1 cup of chilled water. I add as much as I think I need. Drizzle a little in, see how it goes. Use that pastry dough intuition, if you have it. I'm pulsing a little more than I usually do because there's a lot in here. And that shortening needs some attention. And then one last final blending of the fats and the flour. Smear tactic into a rough mass. I'm gonna chill this for a few hours. I need a break. Quick coffee break, thanks to today's sponsor, Trade. Trade is a coffee service that helps you make better coffee at home. It's curated for you and delivering freshly roasted coffee right to your door. So I've been enjoying this one, Bean and Bean, fancy diner coffee from here in New York. Trade, you read my mind using your algorithmic magic. It's roasty and it's smoky, giving me those vibes of my favorite diner right down the street from me. But I'm enjoying it right here. Talking to you. I do want my coffee to taste a specific way. It's not a lot to ask, and there's just nothing worse than picking up a bagged coffee and it doesn't fit my preference. I'll be the first to admit it. Sometimes I just don't understand all the flavors that are listed on the outside of the bag. And then I buy it, then I'm stuck with it. It's no good. Trade's technology maps your specific preferences to hundreds of different coffee flavor profiles from over 55 top coffee roasters, and it's always customizable. So whenever you decide you need it, the coffee is shipped within 4 to 8 hours of it being roasted, ensuring one mighty fresh cup of joe. So head over to drinktrade.com/antichef and get a free bag of coffee with any subscription purchase. Thank you, Trade, and break time's over. Okay, get back to work. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different options for stuffing today. That's what I'm moving on to. I think it'd be nice to get that out of the way. I'm choosing something that reminds me of home with the croutons, with the white bread in there. So my washed celery stalks. And here's my little celery hack to flatten them. 3 cups of celery coming right up. I gotta dice it. Dice 3 cups worth of onion. Basically doing all this with my eyes closed. I just can't bear to watch. Oh God, don't tell anyone. 2 eggs, lightly beaten. This is sausage meat that I had in the freezer from a previous Julia recipe. More sausages. I missed. Let's remove. The vacuumers are back in full force, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving to you. But I'm gonna remove the casing. That will equal 1 pound worth. We're off to the races. Loaf me. I have 2 loaves of homemade type of white bread here that I need to dice up. I probably bought too much, but I need to dice up 2 quarts worth. The stuffing I enjoy is with big like dices, so that's what I'm opting for here. And then I kind of just dice it up. Oh yeah, that was 1 loaf right there, so I don't need all of that. All right, so on your second largest baking pan, because the largest one is holding the turkey right now, you're gonna need 2 baking pans. That's okay. So I gotta officially make these into croutons. So they're gonna go in the oven, 350 degrees F for half an hour. I'm gonna be tossing them periodically until they are lightly browned. Okay, let's keep doing things. Now in my second biggest frying pan, it's not Big Bertha, this is Large Marge. And I'm gonna get that onto a medium heat. Sausage meat goes in. You break it up. Saute till the color turns from red to gray. I'm gonna remove the meat, leave the fat. Julia. She says you need half a cup in total between butter and the remaining sausage fat. Well, I don't have about a tablespoon of sausage fat, so I guess it's all of this. That's half a cup. Oh, Julia. So while that butter is melting, I'm gonna just continue to mash up the sausage meat so that it breaks up a little more. 3 cups of onions into the pan. Sauteing these onions until tender and translucent. Okay, let's get those croutons out of there. Oh. And now the 3 cups of celery. 2 to 3 more minutes. The bowl with the sausage meat, here come the onions and the celery. And of course all that lovely fat in there as well. Since that is a mild Italian sausage, it already has a bit of salt and probably pepper in there, so you're gonna have to keep that in mind when you're about to season. But for now, let's get those 2 eggs in. If you don't act fast, they will cook. Then breadcrumbs. All right, that's it. Don't add any more breadcrumbs. Jeez. You're gonna need a bigger bowl. So let's season with salt, some pepper, sage. I don't know. She says she just says sage. So whatever you think is acceptable. Probably that. And then same with thyme, like that. Look at the breadcrumbs covered in this. Savory sausage and crouton stuffing has been completed. I think that's correct. I mean, those croutons are huge, but that's what I was signing up for. So let's just put this to the side until I need it and move on to whatever the hell's next. Pie dough is chilled, nice. So I did make double what I need, so let's just split that in half. Okay, it's one of those doughs. So I'm rolling out the pie dough to around 1/8 inch thick. but it is very, very soft. That pie shell should just hang out in the ice box while I make the pie filling. I think I've overworked the pie dough a bit. That's why I have it in the freezer and I couldn't roll it out with a rolling pin. I had to use my hands. So I wanted to be upfront with you, honesty. And I'm also kind of distracted by it because, yeah, it kind of sucks, but I'm not gonna redo it because the whole goal here today is to do everything in just one day. 4 years ago when I really discovered how to make pastry dough, I used to work it with my hands. And then I discovered the food processor and now I overwork it. Less is more. In technology, sometimes, what am I trying to say here? In technology, sometimes can be quite a fickle beast. So we're gonna make this fluffy pumpkin pie filling. It's creamy, it's even light, it's a pumpkin souffle in a pie crust. I'm gonna need like a fairly big bowl. Me, please? Should work great, thank you. This filling recipe is gonna cover 2 pies. I'm only making the 1 today, so I'm gonna have leftovers, which is a great thing. Okay, so I have pumpkin pie puree right here. I need 3.5 cups worth, and this is a can that is 15 ounces worth. 8 ounces is a cup, so this can is a little under 2 cups worth, so I'm gonna weigh it all. That's too much. That should be right. Just under 800 grams worth of pumpkin puree. That's 3.5 cups worth. 1 cup of light brown sugar, 1 cup of granulated sugar, teaspoon of salt, 3 tablespoons of molasses. Adding all of this at once, so 3 tablespoons of bourbon whiskey, classic Julia. 3 tablespoons of cinnamon, 3 tablespoons of ground ginger. What is that? 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves and 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. 4 egg yolks. Feel like it needs a good mixing before I add anything else. Low speed, calm down. There you go. Yep, that's good stuff. Okay, here comes 1 cup of heavy cream, 3/4 cup of milk. Yeah, you're not gonna find this recipe over at WeightWatchers.com or anything like that. You're all in at this point. So she says the mix is gonna hold itself softly in a spoon. Softly. So I'm gonna need whatever big bowl is left over right now. Thank you. It should work. Yeah. And this is what I'm gonna do. And I did this last year. Add all of this so that I can measure it. 1,700. So now 850 grams goes here. I'm halving it. It was 1,700 grams, 850, 850. At this point in time, I can freeze this half, save it for another pie, and then this I'll use today. Running out of bowls over here. Whatever's left. And lastly, I have the egg whites from 2.5 eggs. Now this part is the fluffy part of Julia's famous pumpkin pie. Stiff peaks. Stiff peaks. That is stiff. To beat 1/4 of them to start, doesn't matter how we mix those ones in. Gently fold in the rest. Counterclockwise. So I had the pie dough in the freezer for much too long. So it is frozen solid, which really sucks right now. I didn't think it would freeze that quickly, but it has, which is, okay, I need to immediately bake this once I've mixed in those egg whites. I have no time to wait right now. I have to add the filling into the pie shell and get this into the oven. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So it's gonna look rustic in the end. I'm just warning you. The turkey's gonna look really nice, but this is gonna look rustic. I hope that's okay. It is, trust me, it's all about flavor. 450 degree oven. Oh shit. Is this pie dough okay? That pie. Yeah, that's better. Okay, we got a huge problem right now. This pie dough is so crappy that it's falling apart in the oven. So, yeah, get it out of that pie. Get it out quick. Remove that pie shell. Oh my God. I wasn't recording on that camera, so you didn't even see that the pie dough was screwed up. You have to trust me. It was falling apart 15 seconds into its bake. So I had this pie dough hanging out in the fridge from a more successful day in the kitchen, and now I'm gonna roll this one out because I know this will turn out. And I'm gonna get that into my shell. Oh my God, that is so much better. Do not prick the bottom of the pastry. Okay, I won't, but at least I have a pastry. The pie filling back in there. I kind of knew subconsciously that I was gonna screw up today, and I thought it was gonna be with the pie. So I had a backup plan. I'm gonna shut up and get this into the So for the first 15 minutes, I baked that pie at 450 degrees F. And then after that, I turned the oven temperature down to 375 for another 15 minutes. And then after that, 350 degrees F for another 15 minutes. And then I'm gonna check the pie. I'm gonna stick a toothpick in 2 inches from the edge, and if it comes out clean, it does. Then I'm gonna turn the oven off, leave the door ajar for 20 to 30 minutes. Hello, can you hear me? Hi, everyone. How embarrassing. I had my microphone in my pocket, so you wouldn't have been able to hear what I was doing. But let me recap. I'm onto the turkey now. I had cleaned up my kitchen, and I'm onto the turkey. I've only ever roasted a turkey once before. That was last year as the turkey ballotine. And I removed the bones, I deboned it, then I filled it with a stuffing, and then I wrapped it up, sewed it back together, and then I roasted it. And it was fantastic. I thought it was a huge success. This recipe today is far easier than that one. Julia said to remove the wishbone before roasting as it will make carving easier. Done. And then I had the wishbone in my hand. I made a wish. Done. Removed the bony nubbings off the wings. Done. Salted the neck and the cavity. And that brings us to now, where I have the stuffing currently heating up in the oven for a few minutes because it's supposed to be room temperature before that's room temperature. A big bowl. I'm gonna use my Dutch oven. Turkey goes in. Oh, it's kind of straight up chilling in this Dutch oven. Just like a vibe, you know? Look at that laid back turkey. The stuffing is going to swell while roasting, so yeah, keep that in mind, and let's stuff the neck cavity first. If I had multiple skewers in this house, I could use one right now to secure the neck skin without it flapping open, but all I have is, I have string and only one skewer. Take the neck skin and neck skin goes over everything, just kind of sew it. Reverse the turkey, setting it breast end down in your bowl. Fill the main cavity. I'm gonna get rid of this thing. Off you go. In the book, she's using an example here. She's got images. She says, our bird in the photo has skin flap that conveniently holds the legs. Interesting. I don't have that flap. Oh, that might be able to. Okay, this skin flap may conveniently hold the legs the way her turkey's skin flap holds their legs. Don't break that skin flap. Okay, there you go, legs. Skewer went through the ends of the drumstick, and I'm gonna keep the skewer in there, and then I'm tying it. So she's got a skewer that is through the wings as well. Keep them in check. I'm all out of skewers, so you gotta be strategic with how you're tying this thing because you don't want a string that's going over the breast like that. She doesn't. It'd screw up the browning, right? You don't want to see the line. So I'm going to strategically tie the wings to the string that is tying the drumsticks into the roasting pan. First of all, here's something I'd never think I'd read in a Julia Child cookbook, so let's take a minute. No need for butter here. Wow. Instead of butter, you're going to use fresh cooking oil all over this thing. Now, the options I have for oil are canola oil or olive oil. And I looked up online what is fresh cooking oil. No one could really tell me. And then I looked up what was the best oil for roasting in turkey. And for a crispier skin, you want to stick with olive oil. That's what I read. So that's what I'm going to use. Don't shoot the messenger. Did dry the turkey with paper towel earlier when my microphone was in my pocket, so I didn't mention that. But here's the footage if you don't believe me. Every nook and cranny, every skin flap, make sure it's covered in oil. To roast this bird, it all depends on weight. You know, the bigger the bird, the longer the roast. I got a 12.5 pounder, stuffed, around 4 hours. So oven set to 325, and all I gotta do is baste with oil or the accumulated pan juices every 30 to 40 minutes. It's no more complicated than that, as long as you keep an eye on how things are going. We will. I'll see you soon, my little friend. I can breathe here for a second, but not long, because I gotta make a gravy and a cranberry relish, garlic mashed potatoes, glazed carrots. Did I ever mention I put the pie in the fridge? After it cooled completely, that's what I did. I am gonna move on to the cranberry relish. These are cranberries, so that's appropriate. I have 1.5 pounds worth, so that is officially half of the recipe that I'm following along to. The full recipe must be for like 100 people, so. Wait a minute. This is the food processor. This is the blender. The zest of 1.5 oranges and the zest of just half this lemon. Ow! Big ol' half a cup of sugar. Give this a whiz. You will need a saucepan. Drained cranberries, 1 cup of sugar, 3/4 cup of orange juice. Strain that in. Good idea. The juice of half a lemon as well. Just a second, turkey. Okay, what's going on, turkey? Baste it with some olive oil. Yeah, get that all covered there. There you go. See you in another 40 minutes. Let's talk about ginger, because oftentimes I'll pick it up, I'll use it once, and then I'll forget about it, it goes bad. So, yeah, it's happened a few times. So I want a solution to my problem. I think I found one. This is crushed ginger that I keep frozen in these individual little pods here. Each one is about a teaspoon, and I need 1 teaspoon, yeah. So just pop that sucker out. Let's bring this to a boil. I forgot about adding all this. That needs to go in too. Bring it to a boil, let the juices bubble over the cranberries for 2 to 3 minutes, just until the berries burst. Letting that rest right there for 30 minutes. Hello, beautiful. Let's kind of rotate it in the oven. Baste with any of the juices on the bottom of the pan. I just got a turkey baster and baste. Bye-bye. You just hope, right? Everyone's doing all right. Cranberry. He shoots, he scores. We're gonna do the garlic mashed potatoes next. 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4. There. That's 6, but 2 are smaller. Quarter the potatoes, cut off weird things. Lightly salt up some water, and in go the potatoes, gracefully. All right, I need these tender, boil for 10 to 15 minutes. And then I'm gonna get them back into the pan just for a moment to dry them out from the excess moisture. That's what Julia says, okay? These potatoes are super tender. Like, pierce them with the knife, no problem, no problem. I'm getting tired. I don't want to mash my potatoes with a fork or the potato masher today just because I'd never get it 100%. There's always a couple clumps in there. I'd rather have a ricer, but I don't have one. So I have my food mill, Millhouse. You will get the job done today. I'm gonna take potatoes and I hate this thing. Clockwise, if it gets stuck, counterclockwise. Very exciting. I'm almost done. Quarter cup of milk in. After mashing the potatoes in the preceding recipe, puree and blend in a head of garlic simmered in cream. Select a large head of garlic cloves and peel them. In a small saucepan, 2 tablespoons of butter. 1, 2. On a low heat, simmering this for 15 minutes until the garlic is tender. They should not color more than a creamy yellow. So after 15 minutes, in goes half a cup of heavy cream, a little bit of salt, and some white pepper. Simmer over low for 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, big bag of carrots. I just gotta get this one done because it's on my mind and I'm like, all right, well, what about the carrots? It's just mud. Save that one for later. 6 to 9 carrots, 8 inches long. 6 to 9 of them. If you're thinking, oh, Jamie, why are you in such a bad mood? I'm not, it's Thanksgiving. I'm just fatigued. Just cut it lengthwise to start. Then the halves crosswise into lengths of approximately 1.5 inches. Carrots, enough water to cover them halfway up. 2 tablespoons of butter, salt, boiling and steaming them until the water has evaporated and the carrots are tender. Garlic simmering in the cream. And we puree. Well, that looks incredible. So let's have that join the party. Wow. More salt and a touch of white pepper. If you cannot serve this at once, beat in a mini mum of milk. Mini mum. A mum of milk. Mum of milk. Whatever that means. I don't know what that means, actually. What I'm doing is this is another pan filled with water, and I'm gonna get it hot, but not simmering. Spill it all over the place too. Great. Now we cover the potatoes loosely and they must stay warm to retain their fresh quality. Keep them in the pan with hot water until I'm ready to serve. Great tip, Julia. I just realized that I forgot a step when it came to roasting the turkey. I was supposed to chop up some carrots and some onions, put them at the bottom of the pan. And then that would create a little more flavor when I was basting the sucker. I forgot. No point crying over spilt milk because this turkey looks great. In the armpit area of this bird, thickest part of the white meat, registering around 162. 162. That's great. That's exactly what Julia says. I just need to reveal this. Look at that. 162. I say this turkey has been cooked to Julia's liking. Except for the carrots and the onions. An additional half an hour rest time before carving to allow the juices to retreat back into the flesh for juicy meat. Turkey juice is at the bottom of the pan. Let's taketh. Small items to cross off the list. Let's make a gravy. Actually, you know what? I don't know how small of an item that is. Let's move him or her over there. I want to make sure this is warm before we eat it. I was gonna make turkey stock earlier in the day. Glad I didn't because it would have just been too much. But I got another thing in mind. So 3 cups of water, and now instead of turkey stock, I have this. Better than bouillon, turkey base. And I'm gonna add in 3 teaspoons. Couldn't for the life of me figure out how to make a roux. First I added the roasting juices without the fat, flour, I couldn't get that to work. It just clumped up, obviously, because it needed fat. So I finally clued in on that, but I still couldn't get Julia's method to work, not this late in the day. So I've decided to just use butter and flour, equal parts. Started simmering, added the turkey stock. Now I got something that looks like gravy. That took way longer than I ever wanted it to. Equal parts fat and flour. That's the secret. Well, it's no secret. I'm just gonna take the mashed potatoes, the cranberry sauce off the stove, and the roasting pan goes on the burner. Cup of vermouth. I'm gonna boil that and deglaze. Bowl. I've made whipped cream so many times on the show, I don't need to really show how to do it. I just need to do it. Whipped cream, done. Eject. Everything is a blur right now. I guess this, okay, I'm gonna just strain this deglazed liquid into the gravy. Simmer for several minutes. Just before serving, 3 tablespoons of butter into the carrots and 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. That will give these carrots a buttery sheen. The mashed potatoes into this serving dish. Oh la la. Glazed carrots can go in here. Cranberry relish. Whoa. How could we forget about the gravy? That's a nice looking gravy. I keep that covered. Oy! It's kind of shaped, the turkey is shaped like this thing. Stay put. I gotta figure out how to carve a turkey. There you go. With the carving fork, kind of just bend the leg towards you. Where the leg thigh meets the small of the back, there will be a ball joint. There's a leg, the tip of the breast and the knee, slit that skin. I'm just doing this so that you can see. So you gotta find the ball joint between the breast meat and the wing to cut the wing off. Kind of bend it, there you go. I had this image in my head at the beginning of the day. It was kind of like a Hallmark image of me standing up tall and carving up these white meat slices like, you know, what you see in the movies. Kind of a National Lampoon's Anti-Chef Thanksgiving Vacation sort of thing. But in the moment, after the day I've had, I can't do that. I can't learn a new trick. So I'm just gonna carve this the only way I know how. Just like a chicken. Sorry if I ruined the moment. That's a nice piece of white meat right there. Wow, there's that beautiful stuffing. Do I have everything is dirty right now. There's still a little more meat on there, but I'll take a look at that later. Go over it with a fine-tooth comb. For now, garlic mashed potatoes, glazed carrots, cranberry relish, or stuffing, gravy, turkey, and pumpkin pie. Order up! After a long day in the kitchen, I reap the rewards. We're just getting started. So because I was running around like a turkey with my head cut off, I completely forgot I added vermouth to the gravy. And now that I've had it, I was like, is that a game changer? Straight up having a love affair with everything on this plate. Sweet because of the carrots, tart because of the cranberries, savory because of the gravy and everything else. You know, this is comforting Thanksgiving dinner. Hallelujah. Everything on that spread there had its place. I wouldn't have changed one thing. I loved everything about it. I'm incredibly happy and full. And I got dessert. I got dessert. If you cut a bunch of pie slices, I don't know if there's much debate about whether to put the cream on the top or on the side. I don't care. When I made this pie last year, I think I said something along the lines of it being the best pumpkin pie I've ever had. It still holds up. Talk about clutch. Here is a pastry dough that has been hanging out in the freezer for I don't know how long. I thought to myself last night, I was like, I should probably just thaw this out, have it in the fridge in case I screw anything up. What a move. I think that's what happened last year too, where you're just like unsure if the bottom of the pie dough is fully cooked through or not. I don't really care today. I'm enjoying it either way, but why am I standing like this? Whether it's raw or uncooked, or that's just how it's supposed to be, it didn't stop me from eating it. I got the Julia Child hairdo going on right now. I guess this is why she had hair like this. Filling is on the lighter side of the pumpkin pie. I mean, it's fluffier, which is good because that's what she calls it, a fluffy pumpkin pie. But I think it lives up to the name. It was sweet and savory. I think that's what sets it apart from other pies. And you're allowed to enjoy it, but once a year. Except for the extra pumpkin pie filling I have in the fridge. That's gonna be twice a year for me. No complaints. I'm gonna wrap up the day on camera, and then I got a second day ahead of me for the cleanup. So that's it, that's all. This was Jamie and Julia. Happy Thanksgiving and bon appetit. The kitchen is a disaster everywhere but here. Because I love you so much, here, I'll give you a glimpse. Check out all the pots and pans on the ground. I really wanted to showcase this. There's my entire feast right there in the lowest setting possible in this oven, keeping warm. Almost ready for it now.